Hi, it's Anne. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to be making some cute little collage silhouettes today. And you are going to be astonished at how easy it is to do these. I'm going to set this one aside. I'm going to come back to it in a few minutes to show you what the secret is to doing this. Although guess what? You're going to figure out that secret like maybe about right now. I'll set this aside and we're going to make one here together. I've got a glue book together. I've got all of these tiny little scraps, and I have a magazine. What we're going to do is we're going to look for a figure, a photograph in here that shows a really nice silhouette. And bird photographs tend to be really, really good on the silhouette score because bird photographers are used to catching those distinctive silhouettes. Here are some that I could use that show the bird almost in silhouette, but I decided to use this one. And I'm just going to come in here. You can see this one. We've got the beak coming out this way. We've got the head turned one side. If it were looking straight at us, some of it might be lost in the silhouette, but I'm just going to cut this out. This is from an old magazine that we get from the Cornell, I think this is the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. My husband is a member there. They do wonderful work on bird studies. And we used to live fairly close to that lab in Ithaca, New York, when we lived in Corning, New York. Anyway, I'm just going to do just a rough cut, not too close, but not too far away around this. And I bet you've already figured out the secret. I'm putting this face down on a kind of a non-stick surface because we're going to be doing a lot of gluing. So this female red-winged blackbird is going to go face down. And we're going to do our collaging on the back. Let's see, do I want to make her colorful or do I want to make her neutral? I think I'm going to go neutral this time, and then we'll do something colorful next. But I've got my glue book over here. Because we're going to have so many gluey pieces sticking out over the edge, that's why I'm doing this on the back of an old placemat. So I'm not going to do any inking on these because there's just too many tiny pieces. And I'm just going to go and fill this in. And I tried to do a little bit of variety in my type size and in the paper color, but it's gonna be pretty neutral. Oh, so how are you guys doing? I haven't filmed for a while because my last couple of videos I did earlier in June because we have been camping again. So I got myself about a week ahead of time and got those videos done, and I appreciate your watching those. But we went down to the Oregon coast and took our little grandson this time, and we like to camp with him at least once every summer. I've got my old hotel key here just to kind of give these a little extra squish down. And boy, these are random bits too. I even pulled some pages out of this Yellow Pages book because they worked pretty nicely for collage. They're nice and thin. They're abundant. I wasn't going to be using them for anything else. Oh, you know what's nice for a bird silhouette collage is a music page. I have some here. I've always loved silhouettes. I love silhouettes of people. They remind me of those old pieces of, they seem sort of Victorian era. I don't know if they really are or not, but they, those maybe pre-photograph days when people would have a silhouette of themselves made. My mother, one time, my brother and I were out. We must have been shopping for back to school clothes or something like that. We didn't do a whole lot of shopping, not the way that people do today. But every once in a while we go to Omaha, and my guess is we were at, they didn't even call them malls then, it was the shopping center. And my guess is there was some artist there that would have been showing these silhouettes of children's heads on display. And oh, my mom thought that was the greatest idea. And she had my brother and I sit down, and I think they just like shone a light or something on us in silhouette against a backdrop, and then drew an outline, and then took that outline and cut this black silhouette out of it was like a black foam core. And it was cute. I had a ponytail and my brother had his little crew cut, and they made for very cute silhouettes. Of course, my mother kept them up for years and years, much past the point where my brother and I thought that they were cute or cool. I mean, I think we were in college by the time she finally took those down. Maybe not even then, but anyway, it always kind of makes me smile when I see things in silhouette, because I think about how much she enjoyed those, and she was very sentimental about them. So good for her. These are tiny bits I'm doing here. Keep reaching off to the side. Anyway, we had a very good, I don't know exactly how I got off on all that. Well, I know I was talking about silhouettes. Anyway, back to the present time. We had a great week camping at the coast. We went to the Oregon Coast Aquarium in Newport, Oregon, which is a wonderful, wonderful facility for oceanic research. There's a marine science center there too that's operated by Oregon State University, and oh gee, we had a good time. And they had a lot of those hands-on exhibits for children, and oh, Barney just loved it. He just thought it was great. And he learned so much. He was in, touching sea anemones and doing all of the fun things. Okay, now you can see what's going to happen here. I would kind of like to let this dry a little bit more, and you can see one of the reasons that I did my gluing on this nonstick surface is if I had just done it on my glue book, it would be hard to peel off. So it looks like a big blob here, but you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to guess that it is probably dry enough. It's a dry-ish. But let's see how the silhouette of this bird comes out. I have to tell you I kind of got the idea for doing this from my friend Julie Torrens. Now I'm coming in with my sharper scissors, my little cutter bees, and I'm going to come right in on the edge of this image. Anyway, Julie Torrens does a very neat technique where she finds interesting shapes of magazine images. And on the back side, she paints like black acrylic paint and lets that dry, and then comes in and cuts that out. And then you have, literally the black silhouette that would have been popular in the olden days or in the 1960s in rural Nebraska. Either one of those places, you would have a black silhouette. And again, I did not ink the individual pieces because there are just too many of them, but I will ink my final cutout. Yeah, I haven't yet tried Julie's technique with the black acrylic paint. She used that, I believe, in her urban journal that I just loved so much. I'll find that. I'll find her her video. And that's sticky. And you might be inspired by that. In fact, I'm quite sure you will be. It's tricky finding the right kind of image to do this kind of cutout, whether you're using the paint technique or whether you're doing a collage in this way. Because you do want to look and make certain that the outline, that the shape is something that's discernible. I have kind of a mistake one that I did. I'm gonna, let's see, he's on this log, but I think I'm just gonna come in and cut his tail. Here, her, this is a female red-winged blackbird. Sorry about that, Ms. Blackbird. I misgendered you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna come in right around her claw, because since we don't have the contrast, I mean, we're not going to be able to tell what the different, where the log is and the claw begins on the reverse side of this. So we're going to want to be kinder to our viewers' eyes so that it doesn't look confusing to them. Or to Ms. Blackbird, Ms. Red-winged Blackbird. I certainly grew up with red-winged blackbirds as a part of the sound of summer growing up in rural Nebraska. All right, Ms. Blackbird. She looks so sweet here. I'm sorry that she herself is not going to be the star of the show, but her reverse side is. And let's get her inked up. Oh, I do love a neutral collage. But we're going to look at a couple of different ways of doing these too. This is just my normal applicator and my Ranger Distress ink in the Vintage Photo color. The most basic of all distressing equipment. You could draw an eye in if you want, but I really just like the idea of it really truly just being the silhouette. And I'm going to make this just a little bit grungier. I really want that edge to really pop. And naturally, there's always going to be a little edge or two that is sticking up. So this little bit of art glitter glue helps fix that problem. There is our little red-winged blackbird. What a nice embellishment she is going to make. She could be on a tag, she could be on a page. And put her right here for something like that. We could put a little background behind her. Maybe she could go nicely on something like this that could be a signature page. We could put something above her. Because she is truly a page embellishment, I'm not going to put anything on the back of her. We're just, I feel kind of bad. We're hiding, the star of our show. She's literally the supporting character here. She's supporting the collage coming forward. But because we have cut around the photograph, we have the perfect shape. I'm going to go back to this one now. And you can see where this one began. And I kind of had to estimate the curve of that belly here because an ornithologist was holding it. What I'm going to do with this one, since this one is a little bit big, see it comes up, this is the size that most of my journal pages would be. I'm going to use this as a journal card. So this is another way that you can use this. And you don't really need me to explain this, but as long as we're here together, let's go ahead and get that done. Yellow pages make good glue books. Heaven knows they're not going to be used for anything else. And I'm just going to glue this little birdie right down here. And we're going to have a nice journal card. And we'll just come around and fussy cut again. You do have to fussy cut 2 times with this one because you need to have that original photograph exposed, so you know where to cut. But this will just take a second, and then we're going to go on, and I'm going to show you what you can do to get a little more variety if you don't have any magazines handy, or if you want a little more variety in what you're in the silhouettes that you're choosing to make. I ought to ask I know my brother must remember those silhouettes of the 2 of us because he was so cute in his crew cut. How old would we have been? I don't know, probably, 8 and 11 or something like that. He's 3 years older than I am. My sisters are a little bit older. They were off to college by the time Joe and I came along, or by the time I came along anyway. We're all very close now, but we kind of grew up in different times. Same family, same parents, just different decades. There we go. Okay. So now we have a little silhouette journal card, and I am going to ink the back. And because I do like to finish off the back with something, I don't know exactly what I'll put on the back of this, but it will be something. There we go. So this is a little journal card that can fit into a pocket. It can go like this, it can go like this, it can go underneath a belly band. In fact, I think I might do the belly band thing with this one. Anyway, let's look at a few other options for our silhouette project. What if you went online? As you probably know, I do not have a color printer. I do have a black and white printer. But what if you went online and you thought, gee, I wanted to, do like a silhouette of a cat or something like that. Would Google be able to produce that for you? Yes, indeed it would. You would be able to find images like this. You just Google, cat outline, cat silhouette, and, you would get something like this, and you could just print it out and use it in exactly the same way that we used our magazine photos. So should we just go ahead and do one? Let me see how we're doing time-wise. Yeah, we can do one more. So cat goes face down. Let's go colorful this time. And I have a whole bunch of really random scraps here. Just total experiments and ugly papers that I was ready to throw out. And I thought, nope, they could go into the collage pile. They certainly could. Let's see, what can I tell you more about what I was doing last week? We had so much fun at the aquarium. We battle the mosquitoes. It was a very mosquito-y time, and we discovered that our little almost 8-year-old boy is very tasty to mosquitoes. So he had lots of itchiness, but he was so good. He was really, really good. We played we played so many games. This was a big game playing trip for us. Both sitting in our camper trailer and sitting out at the campsite with with lots of bug spray on. We played a lot of Uno. This was a big Uno trip for us. What else did we played? We played a lot of Go Fish anyway. Uno, we played, Dan and Barney played Battleship. Barney liked that, the strategy in Battleship. Boy, Battleship is a game that's been around a long time, isn't it? We played something called, was it Forbidden Island or something like that? It was one of his games that had all of these tiles that represent an island that was sinking, and each player had special powers of some sort where you could move to save another player, and you all worked collaboratively to get off this sinking island, and it was actually really cool. And then he has this other board game that's based on his Minecraft stuff that he enjoys. I forget what it was called. It was an actual board game. It wasn't a video game, but it had a lot of Minecraft features in it, and that was fun. And we did a lot of reading. Barney loves to read himself, but he also, and I'm so glad for this, he loves to be read to. And so I had taken along a couple of Beverly Cleary books that I had. And, of course, she is beloved here in Portland. She's been dead for a few years, but she grew up in Portland and is just a highly revered children's author. I remember reading Beverly Cleary books when I was a kid in Nebraska. And because I think that they came out in the 60s. I think it was the early 60s that Beverly Cleary published her books. But anyway, I ran across, I mean, they're easy to find. They're certainly still in circulation. I keep lifting up this gluey edge here. Stick another piece of map there. Anyway, the Beverly Cleary books are certainly still available, but I happened to find some at the used bookstore, and those will be books because they were some that I hadn't read yet and I wanted to keep in our collection, that I will not be cutting up to use for collage projects. If I had duplicates, I would, but not just yet. And there was one of her later books called Ribsy that was about the dog. The thing that's nice about the Beverly Cleary books, about many of the Beverly Cleary books anyway, is that they tend to focus on the same kids, the same families in the same neighborhood, but a different book will have a different point of view from a different kid. And so Henry Huggins, who's the boy, was the focus of the books that we took and that I was reading aloud to Barney and to Dan when we were, spending our evenings in the camper or by the fire, the campfire. And Ribsy is the dog of that belongs to Henry Huggins, and so there's a whole book, the one called Ribsy, that is from the point of view of Ribsy, and Ribsy gets lost, And then Ribsy spends the entire book trying to find his way home again. And you can imagine it had a happy ending, so that's not a terrible spoiler. But oh, the adventures that Ribsy had. And he was going through old Portland. There was names of streets that were mentioned that are names that are on our side of Portland, and that was kind of fun. The families live on a street called Klickitat Street that's not far from where we live, and plus Klickitat Street is that's just fun to say. Beverly Cleary situated many of her books among the families of Klickitat Street because she thought it was fun to say as well. And all right, there we go. And anyway, but Henry Huggins is one of the characters, his dog Ribsy, his neighbors, Beezus, a neighbor a girl whose name is Beatrice, but her nickname is Beezus, and her little brother, or her little sister Ramona. And there's other kids that are in and out that are recurring characters. But anyway, we read, I'm gonna mop up this sticky mess here. We read all of Ribsy on this trip, and oh, that was just so much fun. It was just the books are just so well written, and the kids are just normal kids. They argue with each other and they make silly choices. You can see where I'm going to go here. And then they make up. The kids aren't angels; they're just ordinary kids, and it's just so easy to read this wonderful writing about these really likable, relatable characters. And so we read Ribsy, and then there's another one that we got almost all the way through, about 3/4 of the way through. We'll finish the rest when Barney's over here this next week. But it's called Henry and Beezus, and it's about Henry. It's earlier in the series, and his neighbor Beezus. So, and other kids are in it as well. And the storyline in Henry and Beezus is that Henry wants a bicycle, and he is saving to buy a bike, and it's just normal stuff. And he gets involved in some get rich quick schemes, and they're just adorable. But I'm really grateful that Barney, even though he he enjoys his video games, we limit his screen time. But he does get doses of it every day. There's things, content creators on YouTube that he enjoys. I don't think he's ever watched one of Grandma's YouTube videos. But he knows I do YouTube videos. Anyway, I like that he enjoys the modern technology, but I'm glad that he can read partially for himself, but also we can just enjoy as a family the read aloud experience of the Beverly Cleary books. And, a wonderful author no matter where you live, but she's extra special here in Portland. And she lived to be quite old. I think she lived down in California late in her life, but I think she's only been gone a couple of years. I'll look up a link to Beverly Cleary. I'm sure if you grew up in the U.S., I'm sure you're familiar with Beverly Cleary. But I'll look up some, if you're starting to feel nostalgic as I am about Beverly Cleary books. I will look her up, and I will put a link to more information about her in the content box below. All right. Here we go with this cat. And this was just something I downloaded after I Googled it. Look at this little beastie. I bet it's going to look even better when it's inked up. What do you think? That makes everything pop. It's still a little wet here. I might have a little more confidence to ink this properly if it was truly dry, but this is going to give you an idea. And I just want to kind of put it on a page so we can see how it can work as an embellishment. And I've got a couple of other examples that I want to show you, because I want you to, you know, think, what is a shape you would like? I mean, just start browsing some of those, you know, the silhouette of an apple, outline of a, you know, a broom or a bass guitar or something like that. Just see what's out there in Google land that you can download. Do not need a color printer. Oh, look at this little beast. What would he look like on a page? He almost could go on a journal cover, couldn't he? Isn't that sweet? Isn't that, oh, I'm just loving this whole silhouette idea. Let me show you, okay, I want to show you a mistake that I made. I guess I could call it a mistake. I cut out this this lighthouse out of a magazine, and I thought, oh, that'd make a neat collage, a lighthouse. And we see lots of lighthouses when we're on the coast. But I collaged it. I didn't like it. You know why? Look, it looks like it's a chess piece, or it looks like it's a pepper mill, but it's kind of lopsided. It was not a good choice of a silhouette. I'll be able to do I'll die cut something out of that so it won't go to waste. But I show this to, to say that not all silhouette attempts are created equal. This one might be better just to use on a page as the lighthouse. You know, the shape is really distinctive when you're actually looking at it with all of its parts together. Having obscured all of the detail up here, it just doesn't stand out. So choose carefully that which you choose to collage. Here's another little cat. This is the same silhouette here, but this one is in neutral. And I think he's pretty cute too. Let's look at a couple of other ways you can attempt this. I wanted to do a little mushrooming, and let's see, I have all of that here. But I didn't have a mushroom silhouette, and I thought, well, gosh, I've been drawing so many mushrooms lately, I could surely draw a mushroom. So I just kind of drew a little mushroom like this. It's not brilliant. But what I did, because I decided I wanted to have the separate parts stand out, I cut these different, these different pieces together. This is basically three pieces. There's the bell-shaped top, and there's the underside of the mushroom where the gills are, and then there's the stem. And I cut these into three different pieces, and I did the collaging on each one of them. And I'm going to show you what that looked like. This was one piece, and I cut that out. And this is the gill side. I cut that out. Oh, I guess it went that way. And here's the stem. And I cut that out. And why don't we go ahead, actually I kind of liked it on this. I had a flyleaf sheet. Oh, here it is. I had this flyleaf sheet that I thought was really, really pretty with this marbled paper. And I thought that would be nice, maybe for a full page pocket or something. The mushroom itself isn't big enough to cover this book plate area, but I think it is big enough. That can almost serve as a little grounding. I can cover up the ex libris portion and have it like that. So let's glue that down, and you can see what that would look like. And I'm going to use my art glitter glue here, but I think this would be nice as almost as a journal page in and of itself, maybe to introduce a signature or something like that. So here's my little piece with the gills, and you can see where I had drawn it and then cut it out. There we go. And this is all in neutrals, so we've got some contrast there between the color of the bell. And then here's the stem. thought it wasn't quite long enough when I was cutting it out, so I just extended it. There we go. And I did do another little one, which could go. Sometimes it's nice to have mushrooms in groups, so I did a teeny tiny one down here, and let's go ahead and put that here. Yeah, I'm kind of been hooked on mushrooms lately, ever since the Game of Shrooms extravaganza. That was so much fun. If you missed all of my Game of Shrooms excitement, I can link that video down below as well. And there we go. I could put a third one there, or maybe just some grass, but I really kind of like that with the that plate behind it. I can even this up, and this could be a pocket in and of itself. Let's look at one other idea that I think would be really cute. I guess because I was thinking of those silhouettes of that my mom had made at the shopping center back in the 1960s. I just did a Google search of, human head silhouette. I found girls with ponytails and everything, but I kind of like just like this head all by itself. And so what did I do? Oh, here it is. I just made this little silhouette, and I realized that this would be great as a pocket or as a tuck spot. What if you took this, here, and glued it down, and then you had this, you could have a nice little tuck spot. Do I have anything here? It looks like I do not, but you can see that you can just tuck something in there. And what a little cute little pocket or little tuck spot that would be on either side of that page. You could put a couple of them in there if you wanted. You could have one down here that was a tuck spot, and you could have like a speech bubble up here, and tuck something behind that too. So there is almost no end to the types of silhouettes that you can do. If you want to use up these tiny little bits, have them be colorful, have them be neutral. Use them, search your magazines, or draw something yourself, or just download some. So have fun with those tiny bits, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.